Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Random Encounter Presents Blade 68, episode 4, I think, at this point. Blade 68, a game where the war is cold, but the dice are hot. Thanks for coming, everybody. This is our continuing story of the Diamond Jacks, a crew of thieves and heisters who, in our previous episode, successfully won a Grand Prix race, which was not in the cards for me, but y'all did it. And we had kind of a good time going. So we've been running sort of this season of Blade 68 as a truncated version. We haven't had an opportunity to engage with every facet of the game so far. And so tonight we're going to be sort of engaging in the downtime. If I haven't said it, my name is Brandon. I will be your host and game master this evening. You know the lovely folks that are in here right now. However, Jenna's not going to be able to join us this evening. I apologize in advance. I know she's the life and spirit of what we are doing here tonight. She is recovering right now for some stuff that's happening in her life. And her character right now is so blitzed and glammed with celebrity that she is unable to join the crew right now because I think she might be getting too good for us right now. Jenna's fine. She'll be back here next week. But until then, you have to deal with these 4 assholes. I apologize. But we're going to do our best to maybe get a bronze medal in her stead. I don't think silver's even under consideration right now. So, hi, everybody.
And she is in chat, by the way. She is keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, say hi to Jenna. And Jenna, I'm not watching the chat right now, so please, any corrections, send them through Scott, and he will tell me. And we'll sort of go through that going forward. The idea of watching myself in real time gives me a panic attack, so I won't be going with that. So before we kind of get going tonight, I just kind of wanted to check in with everybody. And sort of from an RPG sense, we've been kind of talking about this thing. Something I wanted to ask is, doing what we're doing right now, and anybody who engages with this hobby, even if you're only doing it for a couple of hours a week, it's a time sink, right? You have to set up, you have to get in front of your computer, you have to think about your character, you have to do the work, think through these things. We're having fun, but it's also, it's a little bit of work. We're all busy people with our lives. I wanted to ask you, what do you get out of this or the other games that sort of do it? Why are you showing up every week? Like, what is this bringing for you? What are you getting out of this? Like, why do you enjoy this? Anybody's feel free to start with this.
Mostly, I mean, just it's entertainment. It's the discussion of, a lot of people, I grew up in the television era, so everybody was, it was before the internet. Everybody's watching TV, watching boob tube. They called it the boob tube. Sat in front of it, watched it. With role playing, you're engaging, you're being part of the movie, of the plot, and it's always been much more immersive and much more entertaining and engaging for me. And it's a way to escape. There's an escapism to it as well.
Yeah, I guess I'll kind of dovetail that on. Do you remember the first time you engaged with the hobby in any kind of capacity, and like, what was that?
I mean, I've been playing since middle school, so a group of kids. Hey, what are they doing over there? What's this with what's all the dice for? And there's no board. What do you do? So and it's just like, oh, this is kind of cool. What is this?
Yeah. Justin, how about you? Why do you do this? Because I know that you're also in a weekly, more traditional sort of D&D game too.
100% feel it's the socialization aspect. I love bonding with other people in a fantasy or story in any measure, and it's a fun social activity with friends.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you engaged with any of this kind of stuff? I do. It might have been the same time. We might have done it at the same time, but I'm trying to remember if you remember.
Yeah. I don't. Was the first time technically D&D, or was it something else? I thought it was something else.
I remember our very dear friend Leia was at my mom's house in Essex Junction, Vermont. We were on the back porch, and she had some sort of shitty module, some like out of dungeon magazine or something like that, and you were in a jail and you were locked in, and the first question she asked was like, okay, now what do you do? And I was like, well, what can I do? And it was like, that's for you to figure out. And it was just like, you know, the third eye opened. It was amazing.
Yep, I think I do remember that because it was pre D&D books and things like that. It was, yeah.
The first hit was free, and then I think we kind of went there. How about you, Scott?
For me, it's the story. I'm a musician. I create, and some of the stories I have told using these games are, you know, I've always threatened to start writing them down, and you know. Because some of the stuff that and I'm not even talking about things that we've done on stream. I'm, you know, things from back when I was in college. But some of the stuff in the last 4 years that I've done with Jenna and Allie and Vanessa and then also here with our group, there's been times where everybody involved was in tears. And there's been times where everybody involved was in tears because they were laughing so hard and couldn't stop. I mean, there was one night, the first night we played Country Roads with Allie, we pretty much had to stop for a second because something so stupid and funny happened. And it's on YouTube. It's one I'll go watch that 15 seconds of the YouTube video over and over again because it's so funny. But that's for me. I like being able to make up these stories and be a part, you know, when somebody else is making up the story, and just being a part of that story is also, you know, awesome for me. But that's kind of why I got kind of saddled with the forever GM thing, is because I just enjoy telling the story so much. And as far as I mean, the first game I ever played was Top Secret, and that was, I think I was in middle school. I spent the night at a buddy's house, Max Hardwick. I don't think I've talked to you since middle school, but if you're out there, thank you. But he had this box, and like we got it out and played a game, and it made absolutely no sense. I had no clue what was happening. And then later, like in college, we started playing D&D, and we went for years. Like we had a campaign that lasted for forever, and that was really the first character that I, you know, connected with and cared about. I don't remember anything about that Top Secret game, just that we played it. And to this day, I want to buy it. I want to go on eBay and buy one of those old box. I know they re-released it, but I still want to buy it just because it was the first game I ever played. But I never pulled the trigger. I keep putting it off.
If you find it, we'll play it. Like, make it happen.
It's out there. You can buy it. You just gotta spend the money on it. But they did re-release it. They put out a new edition. Like they put out a brand new box that was a new version of it.
Yeah.
It's on drive-thru. You can get the PDFs, but
we should do it. That sounds fun.
If you've never heard, it's a James Bond game. It's a spy game. It's all it is James Bond RPG.
Great, yeah.
We're not familiar with that at all.
yeah, no relation whatsoever. You know, Scott, that actually reminds me of something that I wanted to mention. Was once a shattered world dreamed of reaching the stars. Then came the Unity Wars. Today, Duskfall is a city of neon and secrets, satellites and spies. The bubble hums, keeping out the ghosts of the past, but inside, grifters, gangsters, and revolutionaries fight for a future they might never see. The Cold War burns hot in boardrooms and back alleys where life is cheap and secrets are priceless. The sky may turn blue for a few fleeting hours every day, but in this city of sin, the only thing that truly shines are the blades in the dark. Welcome everybody, and thank you for that. I appreciate and I love getting to know everybody's stories a little bit and their connection with this hobby. As I mentioned at the top of the episode, last episode we completed Revolution 9, the Psychedelic Grand Parade, and it has a number of other names as well. But effectively, what this team did was they were tasked with stealing a container of a drug called Revolution 9. Or Sunshine 9, as it's known sort of on the street. And this drug sort of lets people interact with the ghost field and has, let's call them LSD-esque effects that are associated with them. But whereas if you've ever taken or hung out with anybody who's taken LSD and they are sort of telling you a series of insufferable and boring anecdotes about their time with that, this is real, what actually happens to people. And they are experiencing transcendent, sort of far out sort of things. You were contacted by an individual named Vinyl Vinny, who is the record manager and producer for a band that is affiliated with a Earth-based insect named affiliated group, a fabulous group of 4 people, and you were managed to retrieve the shipment that was being sort of smuggled during this race. Not only did that happen, but our fair friend Belladonna actually somehow managed to win the race. A scenario that seems so obvious that I didn't think of it in any capacity whatsoever. And I was truly surprised again. I don't know why. It seems very obvious as soon as it brings up. That's what I would have wanted to have done. But you won the race as well. And in the process, you managed to retrieve it through some chicanery that was involved with Dicer and one of his rivals named Fellows, and retrieve it as well. So you were able to procure the shipment of the drugs. You are going to be owed a certain amount of coin, which we can certainly talk about that, assuming you decide to hand the shipment over. And I think that's a dialogue that we need to have, because what also seemed obvious to me, you also started talking in your sort of tricky ways as well. So we'll certainly talk about that. And we are going to proceed forward, and we're going to move through a proper downtime session, which we haven't done so far. So we're going to be doing unwinding, we're going to be doing downtime, XP, and all of those sorts of things. But before we dive into that, does anybody have any questions about what happened or any thoughts before we sort of dive forward?
I don't think so. Scott?
No, it was awesome. Hey, it was a great time. I'm surprised we did it in a single episode, but
that's my promise. 1 episode, 1 score, regardless of how awkward and disjointed it is. And if we go from the first act to the finale and skip the second, that's just how it's going to go from this point forward. So let's talk XP with this sort of thing. Owl, I'm going to start with you. And before we go into your specific XP triggers, Blade 68 has this really cool system that we've sort of talked about. We haven't really engaged with too much, which are called your keys and your deadlocks. For folks who are familiar with Blades in the Dark, there is something called trauma that you sort of accumulate as you go through. Once you fill up your stress all the way, in Blades in the Dark, you acquire a trauma. And a trauma can be something like obsessed, paranoid, or something like that. And once you've sort of done that sort of thing, that becomes a new XP trigger for you. If you start acting in your paranoid manner or your obsessed manner or whatever it is, you can gain an XP. And so it's kind of this cool system. As your character is going through more and more events, they're picking up more and more mental trauma, and they're sort of breaking down, but they're also breaking through some of their moral quandaries that were there. They might sort of become vicious or reckless or paranoid or obsessed. And once in traditional Blades in the Dark, you fill up sort of 4 traumas, your character's forced to retire forever. Blade 68 flips that on its head a little bit, and instead of traumas, we have what are called keys and deadlocks. Your keys are sort of your personality traits that are associated with your character. And once you sort of fill out your stress, you can choose to turn one of those keys into a deadlock. And a deadlock is just sort of the opposite trait that's associated with it. Sympathetic might turn into reckless. Cautious might turn into daring, or daring might just turn into like really, really, really daring. Once all your deadlocks sort of fill up, you're out of your character has to be retired at this point. But there's ways that we can sort of work around that as well. So Owl, before we sort of break down XP and start talking into that, how would you talk to me about, you haven't really established any keys yet. We don't need to do all 4, but what are a couple now that you're kind of getting to know this character a little bit that you think sort of speak to Owl?
Reckless and paranoid,
Reckless and
which are
paranoid.
two fantastic things to put together. But
Absolutely. So let's say that was in place already, reckless and paranoid. And we're sort of going to assume that. So once per session, when you hit a key mark 1 XP and mark the key. Do you think in our last score with the Grand Prix, you acted recklessly or paranoid at any point?
maybe not paranoid, but I think putting the Sunshine 9 into the gas tank of the car was pretty, and not knowing what was going to happen.
Reckless, yeah.
That was pretty reckless, I think.
Al, I was on the back of that Vespa, and you are a reckless driver.
I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. Mark a key and reckless, and then also give yourself a general XP mark for that as well, for acting on that sort of reckless nature. And let's also look at that. Additionally, you addressed a challenge with persuasion or mayhem.
Yeah. All the challenges were mayhem, like
Psychedelic grenade.
psychedelic grenade, Sunshine 9 in the gas tank, fireworks going off to distract everybody. Yeah, I think that was just pure mayhem.
I'll agree with that. I'm not going to give you double XP for the Sunshine 9 putting in the gas tank, but I will award you an XP for the psychedelic grenade. Another move that you've done, which I thought I kind of had you figured out after having played these sessions, but you turned my very cool, what I thought was going to be a street fist fight, into an instantly solved issue. I really appreciated that. So mark yourself an XP for that. And then the last one, you struggled with issues stemming from a deadlock. You don't have a deadlock right now, so no XP associated with that.
And I didn't do any desperate actions.
Something else that we need to keep in mind that I have not been sort of policing properly, if at any point you roll any skill that you have 0 pips in, that's an XP for yourself as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, I just read that today, or I reread it and remembered it as we were going forward. Okay, let's move on to Dicer. Dicer, let's talk about your keys, which I know you've ticked many times. Your keys that you've marked so far are obedient and loyal. Are there any other keys or personality traits that you think have emerged? You don't need them right now. We can write them in as we go forward that you want to add to the sheet.
I don't think anything else has really come out of his personality. He got a few brewing, but I don't think anything's come to surface yet.
Okay. I think that you should consider daring. There are very few actions that you take that are not large, dramatic, and big, and Jason Bourne-esque. So
I would agree. I would agree with that.
I noted that you marked a couple of these as you were sort of going down right there. Did you think that you were obedient, loyal, or let's say daring as we move through the score?
I don't know if I was obedient. I kept to the plan. Certainly daring. Taking sniper shots off the roof. Stealing the package while at the pit stop. Right from underneath them all.
You tell me, Scott, did you get 1 or 2 XP from being so daring?
1. I'd mark it as 1.
Okay, go ahead and mark XP somewhere that you'd like. And then let's also talk about, you addressed a challenge with violence or discipline.
Lots of violence.
Lots of violence. So much violence. In fact, I think you should award yourself 2 XP for that.
Yeah, I would argue too. Yeah.
Yeah. There were very few things that you did that were not violent. It was awesome, but it was very present. And then your deadlock is recalcitrant. Do you think that you expressed being recalcitrant at any point?
No, I don't think so. There was a moment when I had fellows locked in my sights that I was, and which actually caused me to miss the shot. If we're looking at the story, but I don't think he was recalcitrant in that, disobeying anything by doing that. So I'm going to say no.
Okay.
That would be the
Makes sense
closest
to me.
thing.
Okay, cool. And let's move on to our good friend, Mr. Coffee the Hound. Justin, as we're kind of getting to know Mr. Joe Burke, a man who is barely sober, have you thought about any personality traits that might be associated with him so far as we're getting to know this guy?
I feel like he'd be he tends to be a bit sly and cautious, but at the same time, a complete slob in that he doesn't clean up after his messes.
Okay, how about you mark those down as keys? And it's fine if these contradict each other. People are walking contradictions. So anything that you want to put in that sort of key trait, Justin, which is in your character sheet, feel free to mark those down as characteristics that are associated with this person. Yeah, sly and was it slovenly? Such a good word. Yeah. And Justin, do you think that Mr. Coffee acted on any of those things in the previous score?
I mean, he sure ran away from the destruction that the spike trap left, and I didn't pick up after it.
I would agree. And actually, we're going to be talking about heat next. So yeah, give yourself an XP for that, for being a little slovenly. I think that was the very first conflict that you dealt with in this very legitimate street race. Your first idea was to maliciously and violently maul and destroy their
Cars.
Yeah. Okay, so with that said, Justin, how about you mark a tick on slovenly, just as sort of one of the things that you hit, and then in your general XP, give yourself an XP for that as well. Okay. And then let's talk about your other XP triggers. You addressed a challenge with talking or stubbornness.
I don't think I did. There wasn't a lot of talking in that one.
Yeah,
there was not as much talking in that. Yeah.
There was plenty of talking. It just wasn't any of us doing it.
Yeah. Justin, I know you're sort of the newbie to the game that's going in here. So sort of dealing with the stubbornness that's associated with that. I think that your character's drive to help win this race bordered on stubborn. There was absolutely no reason to win this race at all. And you were an enabler of Belladonna in a big way to kind of help sort of make this thing happen. So how about you give yourself just a general XP for being stubborn as well?
Your bar is very important to me.
And then you had struggled from issues stemming from your deadlock. Nope, you don't have a deadlock. Hint to players who don't have one, that's a way where you can get XP. All right. So
I've got all 4 of mine in place now. Just so you know.
Right on. Oh, thank you. Cool. Yeah, we can certainly explore those as we are going forward. And then as long as we're talking about this, let's talk about your crew XP as well, the Diamond Jacks, and I'll sort of bring this up. The first thing that we're going to talk about is XP. All right, so you completed, and where's the XP marker? Oh, there it is.
Upper right.
See. You completed a bank heist, art heist, intel heist, or jewelry heist. Let's just shorten that to heist.
Yes.
Was the heist completed? Absolutely, it was. Yes, it was. And let's see, it says 2 XP if you really smash it. I think you smashed it. I think that was incredibly clean. I think that it was professionally done. I don't think you left any bodies in your wake, did you?
No dead bodies.
Okay, yeah. We'll count it. Let's see, next. You contended with challenges above your current station. You're a tier 1 group. Yes, the Duskfall government is more prolific and stronger than you are. Do you count
missing? Because didn't one of the cars end up in the ghost field and that we didn't see them again?
we have not seen it since then. So yeah, it would be a little unusual for 10 cars to start and 9 to end. So the next question that we have here, this is an interesting one. You bolstered your crew's reputation or you developed a new one. So your reputation right now is no low-hanging fruit. No one else can do it. I really like that. What do we think about this one? Did we bolster that reputation, sort of enhance it, or did we develop a new one associated with this?
I think absolutely we enhanced it simply by not only did we do the deal, we won the race.
Yeah, that's what I almost say we did both. We enhanced our reputation with the people who hired us, but we may have developed a new reputation with Silk and
I'd say if we lost this race,
Dicer's former CO,
Mhm.
like we may have developed a new reputation in a couple of different ways, but I definitely think we bolstered our rep as well. So
I completely agree. I don't think anybody else would have pulled that off and won the race simultaneously. It is so ambitious, it kind of makes me sick a little bit. I like a gritty game where players are constantly running up against walls and you just keep smashing through them despite my best efforts. So yeah, I thought that was very well done. And the last one, you express the goals, drives, or inner conflicts of the crew. We haven't really talked about that too much. I know that we're not at a quorum right now, but what do we think might be some inner drives or conflicts that might exist with this crew?
I haven't seen much in the way of conflicts yet. Right now,
I mean,
it seems like we're just more well-oiled machine. But go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I thought Al would be the one. Like, he's like, damn the man, and it's a conspiracy, and they're all controllers. But it seems like all four of us are. So I thought I was going to be alone in that, but it turns out, like, everybody's kind of playing that along with me. I may be a little more militant or dangerous, maybe, with my beliefs in that, but
So Jenna is speaking out in chat. She's saying Belladonna is not as interested in violent mayhem. It's not good for her optics.
Okay.
That's some conflict. She's also not interested in doing things secretly, which I think the guys might prefer. So, and I
What
think
do you all
Yeah,
think
there's
about?
that.
we would agree with that.
What do you all think about as a drive or a goal of damn the man?
that's 98% of my character. So yeah,
I think that's an inner conflict with Dicer.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we don't have to agree on that right now, but we can sort of explore this as we're going forward. I get the idea that this group of people is not necessarily in love with the establishment.
No.
Maybe there's a little bit of conflict of understanding why it needs to work, and probably thinks that nuclear war isn't great, but is not really happy with the systems that are in place for it. Okay, that's excellent. So I'm not going to necessarily mark anything with that. You are 2 XP away from another upgrade, or we can put it into base or something like that as well. Okay, excellent. So that has moved us through the XP phase. Next, we are going to do payout. So I'm going to make a slight modification on your payout simply because I did read the book this time. And there, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to award you 8 stacks for completing the score. And then what I'm going to mark is your bonus, which was Belladonna winning the race. I'm going to give you an additional 3 for that, which in the book term is called sort of your personal mission or something that was associated with that. And going forward, if anybody wants to call out any shots like that, I will have the ability to award you coin, but if you screw up, I can subtract coin based off of those things. If you want to sort of call your shots as you're sort of doing that, Babe Ruth or Kobe style, whatever you want to say. So that is going to turn to 11 coin. So I'm going to fill out.
We owe Steph half of the winnings half of the 3. So
Wasn't it
yeah,
4?
I don't know if we're going one or two coins goes to Steph. That was
We'll-
part
we'll
of the
say-
agreement.
2 coin, just because I think that in these kind of games you always round away from the player. Sorry.
Mhm.
2 coin. So that is going to give you a total of 10 coin to sort of mess around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 in your vault right now, and we're going to say that the vault is full. Now, something that I did during when we were not on the air is if you look in your individual crew sheets, I filled out your bank. That was sort of the top row. It's in the top right. That's sort of associated with that. That is your individual wealth level. When your character retires, every row that you have full sort of represents their status in life that they have associated with them. With none, you die in the gutter. With 1 row filled out, you're eking out an existence, freezing in the winter. With 2, you're doing okay for yourself. With 3, you're comfortable. With 4, like life is pretty damn good for you. That we would call that our stash in sort of traditional Blades in the Dark. So you have sort of your personal load that you can carry around with you. You also have your stash, which is there in the upper right. You all have 10 coin between all of you. It is your determination to sort of figure out where you want to put that for right now. 1 point of note, if you put something in your stash, it's going to cost you 2 coin to take it out in the future. Those represent your assets, intangible stocks, and that
Right.
sort of thing.
So stacks is what we have liquid, and bank is what you're talking about. If we put it in there, it takes more to take it out.
Yeah, it's your 401k, right? You get dinged every
Mm-hmm.
time you withdraw from it. Sort of that thing.
So how much of the
and-
9 went into our vault?
I put in
Did we
I
have
put
anything
in 2
before that?
coin.
Okay.
Yep, you had 2 in there, so I put 2 in there. So I think you have 7 to distribute amongst you evenly in any capacity amongst the 4 of you. If we want to just make a note that that's something that has to be done as we're sort of moving forward, that's fine. We certainly don't need to take care of that right now. And it might kind of come up as you are going forward. Okay, so that was step number 1. Step number 2, let's talk about reputation. Payout tithes. Oh, actually, you know what? First is tithes. We're going to skip that. Heat. All right, let's talk about heat right now. So heat. Anything you do might be witnessed, and there's always evidence left behind. To effect this, your crew requires heat as they commit crimes. After a score, your crew takes heat according to the nature of the operations. Let's talk through them. 0 heat. A smooth and quiet, low exposure. 2 heat. Contained, standard exposure. 4 heat. Loud, chaotic, high exposure. 6 heat. Wild, devastating exposure. Diamond Jacks, the floor is yours. Please defend your case.
2 heat.
Contained and standard exposure.
Everything we did was on purpose. Everything we did was a detailed, thought out activity that had to be done. 2
With the
heat.
entire city watching.
They were all high. Like they don't know what they saw.
Now, I will say that a certain amount of mayhem and silliness was appropriate for this as well. You were not the only people who were engaging in this. What I thought was going to be a straightforward race apparently turned into a Mad Mask-esque free-for-all, which I guess is the way that the Grand Prix work in Dustball. So that's fine. So I will give you a little bit of a slack associated with just the general chaos of the race. I think that the act of what you were doing, which was the lift, the steal, was pretty damn clean. And I don't think that there was too much that was noticed. In fact, I think you were spotless when it came to that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think the driver knew what I was up to, but couldn't do anything about it, and that was the only.
Yeah, Bullet has got a bullet with your name on it.
Yeah.
But there's no way to prove it in any whatsoever. I mean, what are they going to say? They stole the secret illegal government drug shipment? that we weren't supposed to have. I mean, it's not really something that you can publicize.
Yeah, everything
okay,
else was really just to win the race. It wasn't to steal the drugs. So
everything
Okay.
was
Could be
to
argued
mask
that
what
the-
we were actually doing. That's what makes it.
even better.
I say 2.
Okay.
3 at most. Like 4 is that's no good.
Justin, what's your opinion on this?
I think 2 is very kind.
Okay.
Those.
I'm not a kind man, so I'm going to give I
Justin,
think
you realize
that the
we're
nature...
on the same team against him, right?
I'm
Okay.
just thinking of like, geez, those cars we crashed, or those explosions that happened. Like, there's no way that they were victimless.
Well, I mean, you know, it depends on...
But what
the
we're
definition
talking
of it.
about is, does anybody know we did it?
Fellows knows. Fellows knows I didn't specifically. So
I don't think Silk would be in the race. Would be eyeing us in the race if they didn't know we were there.
Yeah. To say this nicely, you've got some shit with Silk right now. Jenna, your actions will have consequences. You're too fabulous to stop in the moment. It was amazing. Okay, so as we sort of move forward, the next thing that we need to sort of deal with is your reputation, which I can't find in the book right now. So just give me one moment. Okay, here it is. Did you do this? Did you do this? I won't pain you with the details. I'm going to tell you right now that you are getting your rep. 3, 1, 2, 3, and they were 2 tiers higher there. That's 4 rep that's associated with that. Something to keep in mind as we're going into the next phase, you can always spend rep for extra downtime activities. And rep is something that you're going to need to advance your tier as well. So you're 3 away from sort of filling out what you need to do. Okay, so that was player XP. We did our payout. We did our rep. We skipped the tithe. We did our heat. All right, so we're going to move officially sort of into a little bit of free play and a little bit of downtime that's associated with that. So let's say that it's been a month since the Grand Prix. Velvet, Belladonna is the talk of the town right now. That was a big deal, winning that. This sort of surprise thing that's come out of nowhere. Now, Belladonna officially didn't give her name. She was Racer X, a name not affiliated with any other brands either. But I think that the smart people of Duskfall and all the paparazzi reporters who Owl hasn't murdered so far are maybe starting to put rumors about putting pieces together. And so I'm going to say that for the purposes of the session, Belladonna is actually laying a little low right now. Or maybe she's laying low and speaking tall at the same time with that sort of thing. And so, yeah, it's been about a month right now since that's happened. The buzz has died down. The next scandal or sort of big thing is sort of swept through Duskfall. But the people who are into it are still very, very much talking about this right now. So you as a crew are kind of, doing your thing. And the first thing that we need to decide is, how are you unwinding as a group together? Your buddies, you've been kind of doing this for a while. What's the thing that we're all going to be doing right now to sort of decompress a little bit now that a little bit of time has passed? You went to the spa last time, but we certainly don't need to repeat the same sort of process. What are people in the mood for? The world is your oyster.
I mean, I know I'm going to drink.
We will get to that as part of your downtime operation. That can certainly be part of what you're trying to accomplish. But what is a crew? Like, what do we think? What do we think you guys do? How do you hang out? Like, what's the thing you're all into?
Well, I think that the natural thing after that mission would be hanging out at Silver Echo's concert and partaking of
The new drug.
the new drug.
Yeah, I think that you all have a sort of backstage VIP unlimited access to everything associated with the Silver Echoes right now. But actually, before I say that, is the plan, and we sort of assume that it was because they gave you the payout, are you handing over the shipment to Echo and to the Silver Echoes to sort of distribute the drug freely as they said they were? Are you taking a little bit for yourself? Do you want to hang on to it entirely?
The question is it possible for me to analyze it and try to synthesize it before we give it or not?
Yeah. Does anybody have any skills that would apply towards that sort of sciencey stuff?
Not my area.
I have study, I have finesse.
How many pips do you have in study?
One. I have one in each.
That's totally fine. I'm gonna say this was a pretty big shipment. I think that you could actually just hold onto one of the vials for yourself if you'd like, and
Maybe
no one's gonna be
long-term
the project.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have one of the vials that's associated with it, but I assume you gave the rest to the Echoes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I
cool.
just want to. His whole plan is to start making it himself.
Yeah. Okay. So the Silver Echoes are making their premiere debut on the Edwin Bullivant show right now, which is the big talk time at sort of the thing. People are screaming for some reason, which is weird because for you all, screaming is associated with something very different. And it's a cool show, and it's exciting. And afterwards, sort of the Silver Echoes and the crew sort of invite you backstage. And Vinyl Vinny is there, and he goes, "Well, it's my favorite boys. It's so good to see you. Where's Velvet? I was really hoping to encounter her again."
She had some work done.
She had some work done. Would it be of the locomotive variety? Would it? I've heard rumors.
Oh, she's mad at you, Scott. You got a full-on bra in the chat.
Yeah, that was the goal. That was what I was going after.
Yeah, she's laying a little low after.
Yeah, she felt she needed to keep a low profile after the Grand Prix.
Of course. I mean, I'm none the wiser. I think you should all have a nice time. Have you seen the open bar? We've got all the best things.
Have I?
Yeah.
Roll an observation check, Coffee.
I
Yeah,
observed
and,
Mr. Coffee already at the bar.
Yeah, and so Echo and Riff and Beat and the and poor Ringo are also kind of there as well, just kind of hanging out, and they're on the phone and they're smoking cigarettes and they're making phone calls and everything like that. There's a few people back there, but you've kind of got this inside track to this like very cool and sophisticated sort of thing right now, and you're kind of hanging out. And Echo, he walks right up to you, Mr. Coffee. Kind of this, handsome young guy with sort of this bowl cut that's there, and he just says, "Well, I just wanted to thank you very much. Getting this into the hands of the people is really gonna unlock the next level of art. And I just wanted to say thank you. I know we paid you, but I don't think I ever said thank you."
My pleasure.
Yeah, and he's just like, I don't suppose I know quite as much about you, Mr. Coffee. That's an unusual name. Where are you? What kind of things do you get up into? You're a reserved sort of fella.
I mean, people come to me when they want to find things, and I can find him for him. I can find you just about anything you need.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for me. You know, I've been working on a new jam. Do you play by any chance?
Instruments? Nah.
Okay, well, that's all the better. You're a layman. You're going to love that. And he kind of grabs you and he sort of moves you off to the side and he's sort of plucking at the guitar. And it's terrible. It's completely sort of, undeveloped and everything like that. But you guys are kind of chilling out and this is very posh, very behind the scenes. While you guys are here, is there anything that you wanted to do or talk to or discover or anything like that? No pressure. This is not a setup.
He says with a grin.
Scott's not saying anything? Okay. No, Dicer's kind of withdrawn into himself. He's enjoying it. He likes the music, so he's there for the music and that, but he's kind of withdrawn into himself afterwards.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, Al may pull the one that gave us the sample. Like, I know who he is in our world, but I don't remember what you named him in the game. But he might try to, like, so this sunshine, where is it that you are getting it from? Where is it that how did you discover this?
Yeah, so this is a Riff, kind of the bassist of the band.
Yeah.
Goes, well, we sort of learned word from it because it had gotten out onto the street, as far as we understood, and so that some of the people that we know that they knew, sort of fourth hand, fifth hand, sixth hand, were taking it, and we heard the buzz on the ground, and it came to us, and so it just became this very sort of exciting dynamic as we were writing on music, and so I can't speak to exactly how we learned about where the shipment would be that you spoke of, but that was sort of our intent, was to make sure that what was underground is now above ground.
Okay. I just didn't know if you might have information on where it's actually being produced.
The only thing that we know is that the government was in some way manufacturing that. We don't know where it originally came from, but all we know is that what they wanted it to do didn't work out, and so they were trying to get rid of it. And thank the Emperor that you actually got in there and managed to get it off the ground, because now it's going to be for everybody, and it's going to make everybody's lives better. So thank you. And again, you, Mr. Coffee, great work.
Nod my drink to him.
Okay, cool. So we've unwinded as a group. Everybody clear one stress off of your character sheet. I think everybody's got a fair amount that's associated with that. So now I want to open up the scene into sort of general free play and downtime. We can sort of mush all of these together. Downtime, you are going to have 2 activities that you can perform, and you are free to pay a coin or a rep to engage with any more of them. And so let me sort of just talk about what those things are going to be. So number 1, you can indulge your vice, which means you can utilize that to get rid of any stress that you might have. You do have the risk of overindulging. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You can indulge your vice. You can set up some sort of long-term project that can be anything that you want to sort of investigate or look into or invent or create. You can recover if you have any harm. I don't think anybody has any harm. You can reduce your heat that's associated with the group right now. If you do fill up your heat tracker all the way, you will get a wanted level, and that gives me a lot of free play to make your lives terrible. You can acquire an asset. You're 3 away from filling out your next score. Well, I don't know. Maybe your next score will probably fill it up. Maybe you'll surprise me again. You can acquire an asset, which is something that we did leading into the next score, the previous score. That's how we got the car kind of in play. Or you can do a training montage as well, where you can just give yourself XP towards something that you want to work towards. So keep those kind of things in mind as we're sort of doing this. Additionally, if there are any scores that you might want to explore from an opportunity standpoint, I will say that Zipper, your government handler, reached out to you at one point and said that they wanted to talk. I think you've been investigating the curfew that's been happening in Night Market, which is the district that you're in. And if there's anything else that you wanted to sort of poke around in and talk about or explore as well, we could certainly do that as well. Or if you want to start taking downtime activities, you just kind of tell me what seems interesting to you right now, and we'll sort of mush it all together.
Who wants to go first? I'll go first. Okay. Whole lot of silence. Yeah. So, after even though we won the race, we got the shipment, but Dicer isn't happy. Dicer, saw Fellows, got distracted by Fellows, and missed a shot because of Fellows. So he's very pissed off. And the Sunshine number 9 is all great in connecting people, but that's not what Dicer uses drugs for. Dicer uses them to disconnect. So I think he is going to be heading out to his hookup, which is the House of Tomorrow, a Lotus Den, a Black Lotus Den, and is going to indulge his vice and get rid of his stress, and try and calm down before he hurts somebody.
Tell me about Black Lotus.
The drug, the location, what?
Yes.
Yes. I assume it's an opium den, so it is about, he's going in, he's going, it's about, losing, not caring, and just getting everything out of his head, and just pushing everything away, trying to clear it, trying to disconnect from that anger that is seething inside him at the sight of Fellows.
Yeah. Okay, so you are at the House of Tomorrow, and you say it was Harold?
The hookup, my contact is Harold Tipton at the House of Tomorrow.
Okay, so we're at the House of Tomorrow, and Harold is sitting there, and he's like,
Hey, Ken, hey, it's good to see you again, man. Like, it's been way too long.
and he kind of looks at your cut, and I think you're sort of that mix of like put together, but also kind of disheveled at the same time too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes,
Look at you. You've always been a straight edge arrow, huh, man? Oh, man, it's good to see you, though. How long's it been, man? How long's it been since you've been here? We missed you. We missed you so much.
I was never here.
Right, yeah. You're like bloody pop shit, right? Like you did some stuff in the Unity. How come you never talk about that, man? I bet you got some cool stories. How come you never talk to us about that time?
And he just kind of walks up to Harold and gets like right here and just holds out his hand and is holding the money.
and Harold, you see like a bead of sweat kind of coming down his face, and he sort of snaps out of it. He's like,
I'm just fooling around, like I'm just, we're buddies, right? We're pals.
and he kind of goes in for a hug and like realizes like you'll break his arms like Chewbacca, and sort of backs off, and he goes,
Okay, man, like go inside. We got your room. It's all safe for you. It's gonna be quiet. Like you let me know if you need anything, okay, man?
Thanks.
okay.
Yeah.
And so indulging your vice. So what you're going to want to do, for those of you who haven't done it before, is you're going to take a look at your skills and insight, prowess, and resolve. You're going to find the one that has the least amount of pips sort of in that left-hand column. So if it's insight, you have 2. If it's prowess, you have 1. And you're going to roll the amount of dice that's associated with that, and then sort of take that. Justin, I know you haven't done it before. I'll re-explain it as we get going. Scott, I believe you have 2 in everything, right?
I do. I do.
Yeah, so you're going to roll
Two
two
dice.
dice, and the highest die will be the amount of stress that you clear.
All right. 3 is the highest.
3. Okay, so that is 3 stress removed. How many does that leave you with?
I had 5, so I am down to 2 stress.
Okay, so what's going on in Dicer's head after an experience like that? Because that seems like it was a pretty successful utilization of your time.
It's more of what was going on before. Like I said, it was flashbacks to the war. It was losing his family. It was watching the creation of the Null Zone. It was, all that. Fellows is bringing up everything from the war. So it was more of trying to, everything faded away. Everything's gone. And when he comes out of that, things are back in their tidy compartments in his head. He does have a new focus. The anger about Fellows being there is gone, but now he wants to know why Fellows was there. So he's a little bit more focused, a little bit more social. He'll actually be happy, more nicer to Harold on the way out than he was on the way in.
Yeah.
So
Dicer, where does Dicer live in the city? Or just kind of what's your situation? Are you in an apartment? Do you have an old row house somewhere? What's kind of there?
I think it's an apartment. I think it's there's not much there. Yeah, I think it's a small Spartan 1-bedroom apartment.
Nice building, kind of rundown building.
Yeah, rundown.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you're going home, you are sort of walking towards your apartment, with your key, which I assume has 11 locks that are on it, and you notice the door across the hall is broken. It looks like you're a pro. You know that it's been broken into, and somebody's forced entry into that.
I think Dicer would know his neighbors. So he'd probably, if it's someone he knows and likes, he would probably push open the door and,
Yeah. And
Mrs. Eidelman, you in here?
Yes, Mrs. Eidelman is a Tycherosi woman, so she has a little bit of demon blood from Tycheros, and so she just has completely black eyes. It's a little unsettling, but once you kind of get to know her, they're actually these sort of sweet, like, hits of kindness that you sort of see. The apartment is trashed, and Mrs. Eidelman is sort of sitting on her chair with her feet up on the ottoman. She's got an ice pack against her eye.
So I go over and I sit down across from her and I take the ice pack and I pull it off and I look at it. Look at her.
She flinches and she goes, "Oh, Kent, it's you. Are you okay, my love?"
I'm fine. What happened?
Oh, it's nothing. I'm just clumsy. You don't need to be here right now.
You're not this clumsy. I've seen you clumsy.
Oh, Kent, you're a good boy. It's okay. You can go home. I'll take care of this. Thank you for stopping by. You're a good boy.
Do I know, like, anything? Is this family? Is this random? Is this,
Does Clumsy have a name?
Does Clumsy have a name that I know of?
You are looking around the room right now. I don't know if you've done this before, but this is the kind of mess that you make to make it look like it was a mess. Without intentionality. You see precision, you see surgery, and you see malice that was associated with this. This does not look like a random break-in for you. This looks like a dirty tactic that you've seen before. You're not 100% sure, but you're a pro. You're good at what you do. This maybe looks like the kind of thing you
Was-
are not proud that you've done before.
Was this a message to me?
It might be. You're not 100% sure. Maybe Miss Pritchard could give you a little more information.
Miss Pritchard.
Or sorry, what did you say your name was?
Oh, Idleman. Oh, Miss Idleman. Yeah.
Idleman. You're Pritchard. Yeah,
Sorry,
Idleman.
I'm
This may be
Pritchard.
Miss Idleman.
Yeah,
knows
I'm
a
like
little more.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I wanna help her clean up. I'm gonna spend the time cleaning up. Helping her clean up.
Okay.
And
And
talking to her.
as
And
she's-
if I can get any information out of her as far as
Yeah. She goes,
Who did
well,
this, or-
I don't want to worry you, but some men came here, and they were asking about you, and a race and a car, and I told them I don't know anything about that, and they moved me around a little bit. I don't even think that they meant to do it, but Kent, you should be more careful out there. These are bad men.
I will. I'm sorry. This won't happen again.
And if you ask her kind of what this looked like, she
Descriptions,
describes a man
yeah.
who looks a lot like Dicer.
Like me,
I'm sorry, like who's your rival?
No.
fellows.
Fellows.
Okay.
This look a lot like Fellows.
Yeah.
So I guess would also
Yeah.
look a lot like you, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like Fellows. You don't recognize the other people there. You're not sure,
Okay.
but it sounds like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So that was that. Who else has anything that they'd like to investigate? Anything happening in Duskfall? Any downtime activities that you'd like to participate in? Any questions that you might have?
I've got a bit of an interesting situation because my vice is weird,
Mm-hmm.
which is the reason I took that is the studying of chemicals and such.
Sure.
So I want to indulge my vice by studying Sunshine 9, but I also am assuming that's going to be a long-term clock.
Yes, it absolutely.
So that
will
would be
I-
two downtime activities right there.
I'm going to say you cannot necessarily partake in study simultaneously.
No,
However, those
he's
could
not.
be-
That's the thing. He's not taking it.
Yeah.
He is trying to figure it out chemically.
Okay.
He's trying to break it down, figure out how to synthesize it. He is not taking it. He is.
Yeah.
That's the thing with this. He is stone cold sober. Like he is not
Okay.
in any way like.
So
That's
I
the
guess
weird
let's-
thing is when he's doing this, he doesn't indulge. It's every time,
Right.
all the rest of the time he's indulging, but this he takes seriously.
So what's sort of the
um,
long-term goal associated with this?
It's not to sell it per se. He just wants to. If it's something the government is making and keeping to themselves, like we're not going to be able to pull off a Grand Prix type heist on a regular basis. So if he can
Free the
begin
production.
yeah, if he can begin making it himself and thereby there's a supply, which,
Sure.
as I said, is exactly what Owsley Stanley was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the guy that I'm basing my character off of.
Okay, so I think that we can mix it up a little bit. I'm going to say that in the state of Duskfall right now, there is a big supply that just hit the street, but it's not unlimited. And you haven't heard of anybody sort of thinking about making this sort of a sustainable sort of thing. So we can sort of roll these two together if you'd like. I'd like you to start an 8-tick long-term project, which is going to be called Revelation, which is going to be sort of associated with this. This is not as simple as a chemical breakdown. This is also going to involve a spiritual journey and an inward sort of looking and understanding of the ghost field. This is chemistry and alchemy and science and even a little bit of magic that sort of spooled into all of these things. As we were sort of figuring out sort of what this thing is, I'm going to also consider this your vice simultaneously. Depending on how well you do with your vice rules, I'm going to also let you sort of fill these out at the same time. I don't see these as two different activities. I think this is your current obsession that you're working on right now.
Yeah.
However, since we're going to be pairing these together, if you happen to overindulge at any point, that's going to be reflected on the clock as well. I don't know if any obsession this deep with this sort of thing is necessarily going to be a healthy way of analyzing these sorts of things, right? I think this goes beyond pure analytical to like a part of your core, right? We would call this sort of bad data research in the scientific world. So if you'd like to sort of begin sort of the process of sort of understanding that, Scott, give me an indulge vice roll. Let's just kind of see what happens. And you tell me sort of what this is looking like as you're sort of starting to unpack this.
So like it would be like my study, I think, right?
I want you to roll a sort of traditional
Okay.
indulge
I'm
your vice
confused
roll.
about how that works. How many
It's
how
fine.
many dice am I on?
I'm smushing systems together. It looks like you've got 2 ticks in all of your insight, prowess, and resolve. So this is going to be 2 die. Take the higher one.
Okay. Ooh. There's a 1 and there's a 6.
Okay. Well, you only had 2 stress, so you just overindulged.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, which is like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I in my head, maybe he decides that the best way to study it is to finally take it and experience it.
Okay. I am super into that.
And that's not his thing. That's not, like I said, this is very serious and he takes it seriously, and this is his mission.
Now
But
taking it seriously in the spirit realm.
yeah, I mean, but if he overindulges, maybe I wouldn't say he gives in to temptation. He just thinks the best way for me to know what it is to experience it. And so he winds up taking it.
Yeah. So picture this. You, in your pursuit of the study of this thing, have decided to participate in it because, first rule, physician, know thyself, right? You lose a little bit of time after you've sort of taken this. And I won't presume to describe sort of what your journey is when you're on this thing, but it's pretty rad what you're seeing. And I'm going to say, first things first, you got a 6 that's associated with that. Mark 3 ticks on your clock. Choosing to overindulge has really opened the floodgate on this sort of thing, and you are getting it. It's beyond math. It's pure intuition. That it's almost like the opening of Breaking Bad, right? You can see the chemical composition in your mind, although it's a little hazy right now. However, you sort of come to, and you are in Night Market, and your hands are bloody, and there is a man on the ground. This is a member of the Limmerfield gang. The Limmerfield gang are not good people. In fact, when Mr. Coffee was talking with his cop friend, he recently told you that that wanted poster that you had seen, it was an individual named Skinner who was affiliated with the Limmerfield gang. Some low-level, non-named man. you've done some serious harm to. This guy is curled up like a dead cockroach, a spider, the legs sort of curled inward in the corner. And you've done some damage to the Limmerfield gang. I am going to say that as a result of this, you have two options that can be associated with this. And this is coming right out of the book. You got in a brawl. You can either take -1 status with the Limmerfield gang, which would put you at -1, or you can take a level 2 harm because of your fight that happened. You may not resist this consequence.
-1 status. All the way.
You get 1 status with the Limmerfield gang. Okay. So,
you didn't get blowed up.
We'll certainly unpack this a little bit later, but they're gonna know. They're gonna know that it was you. They're not sure why you sent this message, but I will tell you. So actually, you tell me when you're going through that, and you sort of see the blood on your hands, and you see this decidedly piece of shit guy on the ground who has done more harm than good in the world. How does Owl feel about that?
I mean, it's not like coming back to his senses like this is jarring. Like, this is not what he expected. He expected to be in his lab in the warehouse, and to be in a completely different part of the city, and this happening, like, this was not part of the plan. Now, this thing at my feet, he couldn't care less about that. I mean, he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. His
His
dentist is going to have a pretty good time with the billing, but yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah. He'll try to wipe his hands off on the guy's shirt, as best he can, and just try to make his way back to the lab. Get a cab or something. But
sounds like you're more concerned with the blackout than the actions.
Yeah. That's. I mean,
yeah.
You get a little too loud, you get your neck broke. That's just the way it is with Al. But yeah, just that this like how did I get here? What happened between then and now? That's all a concern. But
Awesome.
this he doesn't care about this at all. But now I've got to get back and try to piece together what happened.
As you're sort of looking for that the thing on the ground, swelled up over eye, Owen Wilson-esque nose off to the side, sort of is putting his hands up, and he's just like,
Hey man, like, you gotta get me out of here. You can't leave me here. You can't leave me here. Like, Skinner's gonna find out. You gotta get me out of here.
Why do I have to get you out of here? How are you my responsibility?
It's the code. We look out for each other.
I don't look out for you people.
and,
If anything, you should be more afraid of me than of Skinner.
and
What makes you think I would ever help you? Why do you think that? What code?
Someone's got another beating.
It just goes like,
Hey man, fuck.
and he passes out. And he's down on the ground. Yeah, and you're free to leave the scene. All right. So that is going on. That's 2 downtime activities that have been spent so far. There's a few more to
Now,
distribute, Mr. Coffee.
I know overindulging is not a good thing. So, but what does that do to my stress?
You're cleared. You're 100% cleared. No stress.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. You
I didn't
cleared
know if that negated relieving the stress or not.
No, you negated it very well. And you might have gotten a little bit of arthritis out of your knuckles at the same time, which is a nice bonus. Okay. Anybody else have any activities, things they want to explore, or anything like that?
Mr. Coffee.
Yeah, I'm interested in ambition and possibly a question.
Yeah.
I'll start with the question. So, reading on the Hunter, sounds like I have a pet.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah. Is this one that I can make anything?
Yeah, absolutely. What does it just say? You've got a...
It says a hunter.
Yeah, you've got a pet. It could be a bird, a lizard, a dog. As long as it's not like a dragon or something, I'm good.
No. I'd like to think that as he lives pretty slovenly and hits up bars frequently and alleys, his pet's a fat raccoon.
Okay. Sergeant Pepper, I believe, is the name.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Sergeant Pepper, the slovenly raccoon. Now, is the raccoon more ambitious than you, or does it sort of match your energy?
I think the raccoon's a bit more tenacious than me. It's a bit more.
The garbage panda is like, man, I gotta get like you someday, man.
You get to Mr. Coffee's apartment and it is trashed, and the raccoon's doing more cleaning than he is.
Okay. I love that for you. Mr. Coffee, or should we call you Mr. Joe Burke, now that we're not on a score right now. Other than, assisting your poor Mr. Sergeant Pepper sort of doing this sort of thing, is there anything that you wanted to pursue in the city? Any downtime activities you wanted to take or anything like that?
I think he's got a long-term activities and he's got an ambition.
Okay.
Given a lot of thought, and he wants to start his own brand of liquor.
Own brand of liquor. Okay.
He has a lot
Tell
of
me
personal
about that.
experience and knowledge as a consummate consumer.
Okay. Now, is this a sort of completely independent thing? Is this inspired by Sunshine Number 9? Are they connected in any way?
Not yet, but I mean, you certainly, if the production of Sunshine Number 9 goes up, you wouldn't be against dropping some in the bottles.
Okay. So, if we want to just sort of start this as a sort of a thing, Master Scott, could you give me a 4-part clock? That's maybe just Justin. We can say sort of formula unlocked. So, sort of brewing your own beer or liquor or whatever it is that we can sort of figure out.
Yeah. Oh, he's got the planning down for even the he's thinking like, oh yeah, I'll name it Mr. Coffee. What better? And like even got the title down. Best part of waking up is a little whiskey in your cup.
So, Mr. Coffee, what are you doing to sort of take the first step towards figuring out this formula? And is there anybody in the crew or contacts that you'd like to sort of help you along this journey as you start?
I think he's using Sergeant Pepper as the taste tester.
Yeah, probably doing some distillery tours. Something he's not at all against doing.
Yeah. Okay. So would you say that you're sort of consorting with people in the business and sort of talking with them?
100%.
Okay. I'm going to borrow from Deep Cuts. I'm not going to make you roll anything. You have 2 pips in consort. Scott, could you fill out 2 clocks in this sort of distillery discovery sort of 4-part clock that we just set up? Okay, so I'm going to say you are halfway towards sort of figuring out the formula that's going to be associated with that, and you can tell us what's in the mix and how much like original Coca-Cola with real Coke this is actually going to be when there's sort of the end product. Okay, excellent. All right, so everybody's gone through 1 activity so far. What are we doing for number 2? Or is there anything that you'd like to investigate in this city?
Before I take my second action, I think I'm going to visit Zipper, and I don't know if Mr. Coffee wants to come with me, um, but I'm at least going to check in with him to find out what he wants, but also to find out what he knows about Fellows being active.
Yeah, absolutely. So the request from Zipper was that everybody available shows up. Is that something that everybody's comfortable doing?
Would it be appropriate going there without Belladonna?
Everybody who's available. Zipper understands that your lives are unpredictable, but he would be upset if he knew that you were off drinking in a bar somewhere. Life calls and that sort of thing. So are the three of you all comfortable going, sort of meeting at the location?
Absolutely.
Okay. It is an address in Six Towers, which is a very affluent part of the city, and there's a lot of sort of brutalist Washington D.C.-esque architecture there. The equivalent of the IRS is there, headquarters of the DoD is there, and every other 3- and 4-letter organization as well. However, that's not where you're going to. You are going to a bar called the Wits End, and there's a speakeasy in the Wits End called the Witty. And so you're going on the Witty. Like every speakeasy, there's an irritating password that you need to lock and to go into, and the drinks are far overpriced. As somebody who loves passwords and puzzles and overpriced drinks, I feel comfortable in being able to say it, but that's fine. And so you sort of go in. This is not the first time that you've interacted with this. You kind of go through the Witty, and you go through a mirror, and then you go through a vault door, and you finally get into that sort of old briefing room that we first sort of encountered during your first heist and your first score. And Zipper is there. Zipper is a Duskball sort of native. He's an Imperial. He's got jet black skin and, a fed haircut. Very tight, white shirt, black jacket, skinny black tie. The dude is very well put together. We didn't explore it. Company man. We didn't explore it too much. Zipper really respects what you're able to do and really, really likes knowing that there's an arm of people out there who can get the job done and sort of go outside the bounds of what is sort of traditionally there. He doesn't ask too many questions. He kind of seems to get it, but almost in the way that like a youth pastor kind of seems to get it, right? Like sitting backwards on a chair and ripping a phone book in half. You're like, well,
yeah.
Kinda.
Kinda.
Right. So that's the energy with it. So yeah, Zipper is sitting there. Zipper's always got a long cigarello there, and he just goes, "I'm so glad you got my card." And you've got, the happy birthday little thing that was there. And he says, "So, you looking for work, are you?"
Always keeping an ear out.
Yeah. He says, "Let me ask you a question. You heard of the Cinder Cipher?"
Have we heard of the Cinder Cipher?
Well, this is a pretty deep underground sort of thing. Does anybody think that they might have been sort of keeping their ears open for this like really deep undergroundy Cold War kind of stuff? Or would this be news for folks?
That would be one of those two. It would not be me.
I mean, that would normally be Owl's thing, but he's also been a little distracted of late with other projects, so he might not have heard of him. But...
Sure. What about you, Mr. Coffee?
Always keep an ear to contacts, so if someone had something to share.
So you've heard rumors that there's something happening with the United Scoveland Coalition and some sort of new code that's allegedly out there right now. And you don't have all the information, but it's something to do with information and data that's being shared and some sort of code that is some sort of new enigma that's out there right now. And so, Zipper kind of locks eyes with you, Coffee, and he says, like, You're a man of the streets. I know that you've heard about this, so I'm sorry if I repeat myself. And he goes, this is classified information, but you all know that. The Cinder Cipher is a thing that these Scobes have gotten their hands on right now. And ever since they got their hands on these things, we don't know what they're saying. We can't depict their phone calls. We cannot get through their telegrams, their typed messages. It's a code that they're forming, and we cannot crack it. We don't know what they're doing. Our contacts have gone blank and dark. We have no more information right now. We are not sure what the Scobes are up to, and the balance that we've struck between the two of us is thrown off right now. This is dangerous. The top-ups are worried that this thing is going to cause trouble. We can't crack this thing, and we're not going to be able to crack this thing unless we get our hands on one of them. I don't know if it's going to be you, but somebody's going to need to get into that embassy where that thing is located and get their hands on this thing. I know it's a lot to ask, but if that's something that you think might match your skill set, I know the Diamond Jacks could deliver.
Haven't we learned enough from messing with the Scovlands?
Well, I would say that would be true if the Scovlands didn't always mess with us. Information is power, and lack of information is chaos. I know we don't always see eye to eye, Dicer, but too much power in any individual nation's hands is going to lead to an imbalance, and it could lead to chaos, and it could lead, hell, to another null zone. I don't know. There's too many uncertainties right now. It's making me nervous. Nervous people do dumb things, and they start wars, and they start shooting each other in the streets. I don't want that to happen. I don't know if you're going to be the right people for it. You don't have to tell me right now, but this is going to get worse before it gets better. Sleep on it. You know how to get in contact with me. And he sort of shuffles you out the door.
I'm like, before we go, I'm like, you know, Fellows is in town.
And he kind of has his back to you. He takes a long drag and he goes, yeah, I've heard.
What's he doing?
Last I heard is he's doing everything he can to make your life a living hell.
That he is.
Long drag, and he says, I want to deal with those things before they deal with you. And shuffles you out the door.
There's no help. Okay.
All right. That's an option for you. You don't have to tell me right now. Zipper would like some sort of encryption device stolen from the Scove embassy. It's your prerogative to take that or to not take that. Think about it. All right. Any more investigation or downtime activities that folks want to take?
But before we move on from that, Dicer, did you tell us about your neighbor? Or are you keeping that on the down low? Because
I would tell you.
Al will blow a fool up over that. Like, that would not be that. I mean, because if you tell Al what happened, that is now priority number one.
Yeah, fellows paid my neighbors a visit and did that. Yeah, I would tell you guys.
Yeah, threatening an innocent to get at one of us, that's targeting one of us.
Yeah, I mean, heist, no heist is, that's, yeah. As far as Al's concerned, like, anything else is shelved, and
I'm telling you more
to,
and I'm telling you more to, so not to tell you what's going on, but to tell you to keep your eyes open for your own.
Yeah, like a warning.
Like a warning.
Yeah, and all it does is trigger me. Like, it literally, like, there's no caution. in this. Like it's like this guy's got to go.
Yeah.
So are you
so-
sitting around the Black Diamond sort of talking about this as a crew?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're talking about that, Mr. Coffee, you feel something hot in your breast pocket as you're sort of talking through this situation with fellows. You pull out a business card that your cop contact handed you when you were looking into Skinner and the Limmerfield gang. And for whatever reason, when you are talking about fellows, it is so hot it hurts right now. And it's pulsing. And the address in bold letters is sort of boom, 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 and it floats up on the table for a moment before sort of slowly putting itself back down.
That doesn't seem normal.
And we're all looking at each other, all like, "Did you put the Sunshine number 9 in the drinks?"
I thought you stopped spiking things.
But anyway, so yeah, we've certainly got that. We've got other activities that we could indulge. We've got about 20 minutes left or so, and I think we can squeeze it all in.
This seemed to react to your conversation.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I know a guy. I was asking him about the heavy amount of cops that were on us the night when we visited the Silvers.
I think we should look into that.
He told me about a murder on the loose, and I have the wanted poster, don't I? Or did he give it to me?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. And now that you kind of know that these things are out there, you've seen them around a little bit as well, although they're not posted everywhere. You can kind of go into like government offices and you've noticed them, or if you ask around at the right people, you've noticed them, but they're not plastered everywhere for some reason. And Mr. Coffee, you got the impression that the cops are not really pursuing this correctly. But your buddy gave you some kind of contact and said, if you're interested in this, come to this address, and there's an address on this place.
Yep.
Okay.
I
know we're
I
running-
met
Go ahead.
I met a gentleman last night that was talking about this Skinner guy. He was very concerned
I
that the
met a
Skinner
gentleman.
guy was gonna get him like the boogeyman. Wonder what happened to him. But yeah, he was talking like he was very upset, and
I think you happened to him.
I mean after I happened to him. But
Well,
yeah, is this in some way connected to Fellows? Is Fellows Skinner?
Only one way to find out.
Can't hurt to go there.
The wanted poster doesn't have any actual visual of Skinner, so
Does not. I'll say that you sort of know just from your gang knowledge right now. Skinner is a member of the Limmerfield gang. You've run into these guys before in your sort of shady underworld dealings. You know right now that Fellows is not Skinner. These are different people. In fact, I'm going to say you've met Skinner before. They are a 2-bit gang of sort of cut purses, hat razor blade gangs. And in parlance, they would sort of be tier 0 weak, if that makes any sense. These guys are nobodies. For whatever reason, Skinner's doing something right now that's associated with that. So there is an address on there. It's also in 6 Towers. Would you like to visit it?
I think it's worth it.
Okay.
I mean, when
All
a
right,
car's
tell
close
me-
up in front of you, you gotta take action.
Yeah, this is an old warehouse. Kind of, how are you guys getting there, and how are you going into that situation? Open arms? Are you cautious?
Well, what do we know about this? Look, it's just an address. We don't know anything about it.
It's just an address in Six Towers. You know, it's a bunch of old textile factories that are basically abandoned warehouses. In about 20 years, they're going to be turned into obnoxious distilleries. But for now, they are abandoned and have not been taken over by millennial hipsters.
Maybe
I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe we case it for a day or two before we go in.
Yeah, absolutely. So you case it for a day or two, nothing. Absolutely no activity. Nothing in, nothing out. In fact, there aren't even rats going in there. Like nothing is happening in here. Dicer, the only time you've ever seen anything like this is maybe the null zone, where just it almost feels like an anti-life field that's associated with that. It's weird, but Duskfall's a weird place. This isn't like my spidey sense is tingling so much that I'm freaking out. This is an anomaly.
I'm okay with just let's go in.
Yep.
Okay. Everybody cool with that? Who's walking in front?
Me.
So you walk in, and this is a warehouse. Let's say it's about 200 meters long by 200 meters wide. It is completely dark, except for a incandescent bulb that's sort of hanging from a string, and a desk that's sort of in the middle of it, sort of in spotlight. And as you approach the desk, there is no one there. And as you get closer, you kind of feel the hair on the back of your neck standing up. And there's a static that sort of plays in your mind. And things are sort of upside down and reversed. And you're back outside and you're inside. And there is a figure sitting at the table right there. They are immaculately dressed in almost a ceremonial garb. They are in pure white with sort of metal rivulets that are on there, and adorned on their face is a mask with 3 eyes on it. You recognize this face from somebody who is on the Eminence. This was one of the Reality Wardens. The Reality Wardens are the people who are in charge of dealing with the dead in Duskfall. When somebody dies, these are the people who come to retrieve them. When you killed somebody on the Eminence, a journalist and then several people, this person noticed you. And so the Reality Warden is sitting there, and they look up at you, and in a voice that you cannot tell even where it's coming from, specifically not the gender, it looks at you and it says, "Sinners, devils, evils, lawbreakers. I have identified all 3 of you as such. The Diamond Jacks are sinners. You are purveyors of death. Punishment is traditional. However, a larger evil allows me to be in this space with you. Filth. Disgusting. Filth." And it sort of twitches, and there's sort of static that's associated with it. And it just goes, "I recognize you all. I see the sins of your past. The horrors of the Unity War. The devil in the bottom of the bottle. Indulgence in a drug that will never make you happy. All of you, chasing your endless needs as a snake bites its own tail. However, you can be of use to me and of use to Duskfall. Sit." And now there are 3 chairs in front of you as well.
Dicer doesn't sit.
Does anybody sit?
I mean, I walk closer.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I want to hear more.
Oh, I'm paying attention. But I'm not taking that command. That's where the recalcitrant's coming into.
This
I'll go to parade rest.
Mark an XP for yourself on recalcitrance. So
Come on.
I think this fortune
Hey, man.
teller is great. I want to hear more.
So the reality warden sort of sits there and says, you have sinned, but you may purge yourself of sin as well. There is a man, or perhaps he is not a man. I cannot tell anymore. Skinner is his name. He is causing unnatural things to happen. He is killing, and the deaths that he caused are not natural. My brotherhood cannot always tell when these deaths are happening, when they are happening. Time isn't a material concept for my brethren, but for us, it is too much. The man's sins make yours seem pale. You will find this man, and you will kill him for me. You will remove the sin, and in so doing so, cleanse your own sin. He is dangerous. He does not discriminate. There are people dying who are innocent, and there may be no innocence in Duskfall, but truly, these are lives who should not be ended in the way that they are, or at least without my domain. And sort of his three eyes sort of glow and unglow. You will find the man, you will kill the man, and you will have absolution. My brethren will not pursue you in this matter. Do this thing for me, and you will have our thanks, and you will be cleansed of your dark sin. And he says, you must let me know if this is the thing that is going to be happening. There are other players and other balls in motion. I await your answer, and you're outside again.
Well,
Dorothy, you need to check your friends. I don't know who it was that sent us there, but that was not something that we needed to do.
No. Never answer a floating card. I know that now.
I'm not going to ask you who gave you the card. I'm asking you to give a thought to who you take information from.
I'll kill a man that is killing innocents. I'll kill a man for money. I'm not killing a man to wash away my sins.
Yeah, it seems like we're not getting much out of that.
But if he's hurting innocents, I'll hurt him.
I will also tell you, in terms of parlance, there'll be coin that's associated with this. They will pay you for your effort as well.
Yeah. Now, Dicer's interested in doing the job. It's just he's not concerned about washing away his sins.
Dicer's own villain is hurting innocents.
Yes. Absolutely.
Is Dicer's own villain connected with this? I don't know.
That's what I want to find out. My second downtime action was to either start a clock to try and find out what Fellows is up to, or if if we're not doing that via a clock, then
we can do this very rapidly. We're gonna do rapid fire round of second activities right now. Dicer, you ask around a little bit right now. You get the impression that Dicer is mixed in with this Skinner business somehow. You don't know how, but
Fellows,
where Dicer goes,
Fellows.
Oh, sorry, Fellows. Where Fellows goes, Dicer goes, in some capacity. Although you have no idea what the connection is right now.
Okay.
They're linked in some capacity. You do know that Fellows is kind of a private security sort of person and might have their own sort of consulting firm that's associated with that.
Okay.
If there's anything else that you desperately want to do, let me know when we're offline. But for now, we can sort of consider that.
No, it's more about that. And if Skinner's a pawn on Fellows' board, then I'm taking out the pawn.
Okay. Great. We've got a couple more minutes. Any other activities that anybody wants to pursue right now?
You guys
Thinking
get a
about
second
blowing up that warehouse.
one.
Well, I don't think he'd hold anything against you for it in terms of you're not hurting any innocents or killing anyone.
Does anybody want to, well, I guess cause more heat in that case? Does anybody want to reduce heat? Does anybody want to maybe think about an asset that they might be acquiring for the next score? You don't need to think through that right now. But is there anything that we should deal with when we're all sitting together right now?
Yeah, I would like to reduce heat if that's. I don't know how we can make that happen, but we definitely need to do some heat maintenance.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got reduced heat right now. So tell me in brief what you were doing to reduce heat for the group. What are you doing to sort of move the blame aside, cause confusion, beat up people who are saying the wrong thing?
I mean, if people saw us there, people also saw this military-esque presence. I mean,
Man.
I say we put it on them and make ourselves the Robin Hoods of the situation, that they were causing the problem and we stopped them.
And there goes
Okay.
Al and his crazy government conspiracies again.
And if we're working together to reduce the heat, I mean, I'm happy with spreading rumors.
Okay, that makes complete sense. Briefly, does anybody have any contacts who could help with this misinformation?
Oh, I'm on the crew page, not mine.
Crew's fine as well. Remember, you've got access to all your contacts, not just the up-down ones.
I mean, then I know a nightclub owner and a street kid.
Okay.
I know a
who's your street
union
kid?
rep, a fearless journalist.
Oh,
There you go.
that's the winner.
So, for the
Oh,
sake
and
of
he's my up.
expediency-
He is my up contact as well. The Stoker,
Okay,
the
for the sake
fearless
of
journalist.
expedience, let's say you talk with Stoker, you are spreading misinformation. Do me a solid, roll whatever you want, but in this case, what you want to roll is sway. And give me a sway roll. 2 die, tell me your highest.
6.
6 minus 3 heat. And I will reduce that for you. Heat. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. That was your second downtime activity. Mr. Coffee, anything else that you'd like to do?
No, I'd like to think I was trying to help in that manner.
Okay, great.
You can train.
Well, you could train, so you could increase one of your stats. Or Justin, if you want to think about acquiring an asset as we're going into the next score, that might help with this sort of thing. We can certainly hold off on yours as well. We can deal with yours either in the Discord or right at the top of the next one as we're sort of moving forward. So before we sort of close out for this evening, do you have a sense of kind of what you want to pursue next?
For me, it's Skinner. I don't know how everyone else felt about the two jobs, but we kind of looked into both. And
I mean, for me, like for me, it's fellows, but there appears to be some kind of connection. So maybe these will
Right.
dovetail. But
that's my feeling as well.
Giving the government access to a cipher breaker didn't really strike me as something the team would do.
But yeah, I mean, that's the way he's looking. The way Al is looking at this is Skinner is going to get him to fellows, not the other way
Yes.
around.
Yes.
Like I'm after him. What he did is inexcusable and needs to be punished. And if Skinner's not going to punish him, I will.
Okay. So we sort of the crew, you know, you're sort of in your nightclub and you're sort of talking about what you're going to be doing next. And the camera sort of pans out of the club, goes outside, and we sort of drone shot up into Night Market, which is where you are. and we move through, and we're in the dark, and we're in the rain, and we're zipping across the city, and we sort of scoot down, and we're in this dark, smoky alley, and there's a body on the ground, and we see this big figure, linebacker, right? And we see the glint of this bizarre knife, and it's just down, 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 and it sort of lifts the blade up, and the blood on it is just sort of red, and it just sort of pulls itself into the knife. And we look down at the body, and it is just mutilated, but in sort of the most perverse way, beautifully. There's a symmetry to it, and there's a sense of purpose. And we see the individual sort of stand up, and almost in a Ralph Fiennes Red Dragon sort of way, and sort of this moment of bliss that sort of comes over him, and takes the knife and sort of puts it away and turns to the side, and we see another man in the corner sort of standing there, and we heard the voice of Fellows say, "How many more is it gonna have to be?" And we see this person with the knife say, "Oh, just getting started." And that is where we will end things this evening. Thank you very much for joining us on the Random Encounter Guild this evening. This has been Blade 68. You need me. I'm Brandon. You know these wonderful fellows as well. Again, we apologize for a C- episode because of the lack of Jenna, but we promise we'll bring her back very soon. Join us again next week as we are going to sort pursuing maybe this nefarious murder, or maybe at the last minute you'll decide you don't want to do that and you're going to go on a jetpack adventure, and I'm going to have to improvise something terrible as well. My name is Brandon again. Thanks for joining us very much. Let me pass the mic over very briefly to my good buddy, Justin. Justin, anything you want to say? Tell the people out there right now.
Thanks for watching, and I'm having a great time with you all. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. My good buddy, not Guildmaster Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott, and join us next week. I'm not Guildmaster Scott. Remember, join us in Discord on the Random Encounters Guild. We have a good time in there. We're having a good time here. Looking for more people. Over to Scott.
Excellent.
Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. Coming up here on the channel, Sunday night, we will have the next chapter of Alien, Chariot of the Gods. Things are heating up on the Cronus, and the crew are getting in the thick of things now, so it's getting interesting. And then this past Monday night, we were supposed to play Simbarum, but we had some tech difficulties, and we had to cancel it last minute. So this coming Monday night, we're going to tentatively play, but if Tim still can't make it and get his internet together, Davery, Chad, and I will just kind of have a roundtable discussion about the game and the rules and our thoughts about it so far. We're 4 episodes in, so we may just have a brief, like a 30-minute discussion about the rules and the game, and then Wednesday night we'll be back here for more Blade 68 with 100% more Jenna. Jenna, we love you, and we're glad you're doing better, and we hope you continue to do better. And we will see you next week.
Okay.
I guess that's it for us.
Jenna.
Yep.
Yeah, good night, Jenna.
Good night, Jenna.
Good night, Jenna.
Good night.
Good night, Jenna.